Level 1. You wake before the noise of the city decides your schedule. Not because an alarm says so, because you guard the first hour like a small, private country. This is where decisions get made. This is where your day gets shaped before the crowd sees it. You notice how rich people treat the morning like a contract with themselves. They protect it. They don't trade it away for someone else's urgent need. You learn to see time as a resource with edges, finite, sharp, deliberate. You start asking, what if hours had price tags? Not in dollars, in attention, in compounding focus, in the quiet that yields clarity. You stop measuring days by tasks completed. You measure them by leverage created. A single concentrated hour, used right, buys you more than 3 scattered ones. It buys scale, it buys momentum. This is where your thinking shifts from busy to intentional. You choose the small number of things that move the needle, and you refuse to let the rest hijack your hours. Silence becomes armor. Choice, your weapon. You begin to value the hour before breakfast as if it were a rare coin, because it is, because once spent, you can never mint it again. Level 2, you notice patterns. Not just habits, patterns of attention. The wealthy do not equate activity with productivity. They see activity as noise. They build systems that separate signal from static. You too can learn this. You stop answering every email the moment one arrives. You schedule thinking, not just doing. You batch similar tasks. You group decisions to preserve cognitive energy. Decision fatigue becomes your enemy, not just a phrase. So you design your day to minimize trivial choices. You standardize routines. You automate where friction is unnecessary. You create templates for repeated actions, meetings, reports, follow-ups. Every template is a tiny time machine. It returns hours to you. You begin to think in cycles, not incidents. What can be delegated should be. What cannot be delegated should be protected. And what can be automated must be automated. This is not laziness. It's leverage. It multiplies your attention like interest on capital. You start to treat systems like capital investments. They pay dividends in hours regained, and those hours are your most valuable asset. Level 3, you watch how they measure wealth, not by the hours they work, but by the hours they own. Ownership of time. This is the pivot point. You begin to evaluate choices by the future hours they buy. A meeting that steals 3 hours but opens a contract that frees 300? You attend. A meeting that consumes 3 hours and returns a spreadsheet with no leverage? You skip. You create optionality. You trade linear effort for asymmetrical outcomes. You seek bets that scale. Invest once, benefit repeatedly. You prefer projects that compound. You prefer relationships that open doors. You prefer assets that generate time, people who can do things without you, systems that run in your absence. You no longer celebrate being the busiest person in the room. You celebrate the most effective. You ask, what would happen if I could be absent and things still move forward? That question becomes your North Star. It reshapes partnerships, hires, and investments. It converts time into an engine of freedom. You begin to aim for a life where presence is choice, not requirement. Level 4, you reframe risk. Rich people accept short-term discomfort for long-term sovereignty over time. They delay immediate gratification to build optionality. You learn to feel patience differently, not as waiting, but as purposeful accumulation. A month of frugality buys a decade of choices. A year of focused learning buys a lifetime of leverage. You start to budget time like money. You set aside blocks for compound work, the kind that grows while you sleep. You also budget time for recovery. Because time without energy is just empty minutes. You respect your margins. Rest is not indulgence. It's maintenance of the machine. You plan vacations that return you exponentially more creativity. You schedule deep work windows with the same rigor as board meetings. You protect them from interruptions. This disciplined patience is not passive, it is a strategy. It converts present sacrifice into future freedom, and the currency is time itself. Level 5, you learn the art of saying no. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. Every yes is a tiny tax on your future self. Every no is a deposit. You practice it. You craft polite, firm refusals. You become allergic to meetings without purpose. You stop being available on demand. You create friction for the trivial. And you open doors to the meaningful. People begin to respect the value of your time. You don't have to announce it. Your behavior broadcasts it. Boundaries become an invisible form of negotiation. They teach others how to treat your hours. You protect the hours that produce asymmetry. You allow the rest to be ordinary. This austere discrimination gives you blank spaces in the future. Those spaces are where opportunity grows. They are quiet theaters where your best thinking happens. Level 6. You invest in time arbitrage. You trade your high-cost hours for lower-cost ones. You hire people smarter than you at specific tasks. You buy services that save hours. You subscribe to convenience that compounds into freedom. You outsource not to show status, but to multiply your impact. A delegate frees your cognition. A system frees your attention. An advisor focuses your capital. You use money to buy back time. And you treat every purchase as an investment in future hours. You analyze ROI not only in dollars earned, but in hours reclaimed. You run experiments. You measure what returns time the fastest. You double down on what works. This habit turns money into a tool for more time, not just more consumption. It makes your life richer in experience, not clutter. Level 7. You embrace the long view. Rich people think in decades. They plant trees they never sit under. You learn to build for seasons. Short-term wins are gratifying, but your identity shifts when you choose legacies over likes. You build institutions that outlast moods. You mentor people who replace you. You design work that scales beyond your lifespan. Time becomes a landscape you tend. You stop sprinting. You pace. You steward. You measure success in capacity, how many lives improved, how many futures opened, and you feel calmer. Because when your time is organized, your choices become generous. You can give away attention without fear. You can be present where it matters. You can walk away when the work is done. This is the final lesson. Time is not the enemy. Time is the medium. How you allocate it decides what you become. You are both artist and accountant now. You create and account for the life you want. The wealthy did not discover a secret. They learned to treat hours as assets. You can do the same. Start small. Protect 1 hour. Turn it into leverage. Then another. And soon, the life you wanted arrives. Not as frantic accumulation, but as composed ownership of your time. You realize being rich in time feels a lot like freedom.